to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air. 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome into Pro Football Today, the pregame show, or as you guys know that I like to say, the pregame party. I think that Kevin and Joe got you guys entirely ready to get ready for some great Monday Night Football. I wanted to say Thursday so bad, but we got Monday Night Football. We got a pregame party for you. We got Kasey Hudson, Dave Sharapan, Tom Vecchio, and Adam Kaufman, and a lot to get into because week 2 has been very exciting, very dramatic, and I think that some of the antics are going to carry over into tonight's matchup, so we got to get the breakdown. We got to check these odds, these lines, and all the engagement heading in. Gentlemen, one big head nod that we are all on the same page that it's about to be a big old party, yeah? Tom's ready to party. Dave's slow behind. Adam, you're disappointing me. Come on, there you go. Bigger head nods. There we go.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes. I'm going to be
Thank you.
headbanging.
We're ready.
My hair's not long enough to headbang. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. We're going to add that to the Selly column for when we revisit what we would do in the end zone. But as I warned y'all on SportsGrid TV, we've got to get into this Falcons-Eagles matchup. And Jason Kelsey's breaking moves and throwing out all the things. We're going to match that energy right now. Starting with Dave, what is your opening perspective on this matchup? You're rocking the Falcons gear today. We already know how to eye you when you do that, unless you're going to swap gear towards the end of this pregame party. But your initial thoughts in heading into this one?
Well, it's been one of those weeks for the bettors. This is, I don't want to say carnage, but it was a bad week for a lot of bettors. I know a lot of my book guy friends are planning their Christmas vacations after what happened in the sports books over the weekend. They already got their bonuses covered. The dogs didn't only cover the spread, Case. They won the games. So money line parlays out, teasers out, and I don't know. I don't know if it carries over or not, but I mean, if there was a choice between what we were going to wear today, it had to be what the dog is wearing tonight, right? I mean, I didn't see it any other way. Even if I wore the Eagles stuff once already, and I'm 1-0 in the Eagles stuff, so maybe we can get a Falcons cover tonight.
Okay, so you're going with the dog. Tom, you and I talked a little bit yesterday on Pro Football Today. We did the post-game show last night. We did actually have to acknowledge how many people had busted betting sheets throughout all the madness yesterday. Heading into this matchup, spread sitting at a 5.5 as of a couple hours ago, and then the total 45.5, and a lot of people kind of looking at the under of this total. But what's your initial reaction to this game?
If I had to kind of key in on a very, very specific outcome, it'd be the Eagles winning, the Falcons covering, and the under hitting. I think that's what we're in for. A little bit slower pace. I have some real concerns about the Falcons offense, and that stems from Kirk Cousins' health or lack thereof. There are some concerning signs if you look at the tape from last week about his movement in the pocket, his lack of ability to put pressure on his Achilles repaired foot. And that is very, very concerning for their ability to move the offense. So I do think this shapes up to be a big game for Bijan Robinson, but I am bullish on the Eagles defense.
Oh, okay. Adam, are you feeling bullish about anything in this matchup tonight, or what was your excitement for this Falcons-Eagles matchup? I know a lot of people at first thought that this might be kind of not the most exciting Monday Night Football, but as we get closer, as we are about less than an hour out, the excitement is very much apparent. Where do you stand?
Well, I wish Dave was wearing his Eagles gear again, because I'm on the Philadelphia side, and I would like him to improve to 2-0 instead of looking like an extra for Mean Machine in the Longest Yard remake. But we take what we can get, unfortunately. So listen, yes, I'm on the Eagles, and maybe I am being a little bit of a slave to the numbers. Philadelphia at home, 18 out of the last 22 games the team has gone over. These two teams, the team that they have faced, the game total is a cleaner way of saying that, has gone over. And so we might be chasing points. As we know, the Eagles fresh off 34 points in Brazil, even on that lousy turf, they were still able to figure it out. And Saquon Barkley absolutely went nuclear in his Philly debut. And Kirk Cousins, look, the numbers are not as bad as everybody makes them out to be. We talk about Kirk Cousins like he's 0-75 in primetime games. That is not the case. I will tell you the numbers. Listen, I'll tell you the numbers. I have them in front of me. I've done the research. He is 17-23-1 straight up in primetime games, 16-25 against the spread, but he is just 3-10 straight up in Monday Night Football games. And let's not forget, he's 36. He's still recovering from that surgically repaired Achilles issue. He is not at all here in week 2 the Kirk Cousins that you would like him to be, that in theory he's going to be as the season moves along. I just think Philadelphia, even without A.J. Brown tonight, and I know we'll talk about all of that, is catching the Falcons at the right time. So yes, you're going to give me Philadelphia inside a 6, that key number is 6 at -5.5. That is where I am invested.
All right, Dave threw on the glasses, and I feel like I feel a little heat towards Kirk Cousins right now. I feel like there's not enough love. I feel like there's a lot of negative energy going towards him. I get this whole injury thing. There's a number of reasons why week 1 didn't pop off for the Falcons, but I mean, Dave, are we being a little too harsh on the guy?
No, the numbers are, you are what your numbers say you are. I believe Bill Parcells said that a long, long time ago. Adam, I know. I thought I heard you say 3-10. Did you say 3-10? And you were making
3-10 straight up. 3-10 straight up on Monday Night Football. I'm not making the case for him. Again, I'm on the Philadelphia side, but he's not as bad as we all say. He's, for instance,
that's bad.
He is.
I mean, 3-10 is bad.
But look, he's 2-6 against the spread in his last 8 primetime games. That's not 0-8. I'm not saying it's good, but he's got some talent around him. Like Drake London should be better than he was in week 1. We all love Bijan Robinson.
That's like running with like a 5th place sticker on your back and being like, it's not as bad. And there's 8 racers, like 3 and 10. That sounds bad. It's pretty bad. He's like, no. Anyway, Tom,
I don't
doom and gloom?
support Atlanta here. I'm just trying to help the guy out a little bit. I want
All
Dave to change into his Philly gear is really what I'm saying.
Okay. Are we putting any houses up
yet.
today? Any houses going up?
Ooh,
Dave
I
already
don't
lost
even know
his
where
house
Dave is doing
last
this show from. He got foreclosed upon after last week. Can we just
I
hope
know.
that whatever plays that we give out tonight go better than that Thursday night football show that I'd like to
Please.
pretend never happened?
Please, you and me both. You actually, all of us, because like I mentioned, a lot of people had some pretty perturbed purses after yesterday's many upsets. And look, I'm always rooting for the underdog, but not when houses and other things are on the line. I mean, we got to be a lot more responsible when it comes to that. But I feel confident about our best bets. I took a quick look at some of the parlays we're going to be throwing out, and trust me, it's party status, but it's still very realistic. I think a lot of us are going to close out the night with happy purses as well as happy betting sheets. But you kind of mentioned and alluded to some of the injuries that were taking place. Obviously, with Brown being out of the mix, that's going to hopefully bring in some more action for other weapons on the Eagles offense. You also have Devin White with an ankle injury. He was questionable, but it was confirmed a little bit ago that he will not be active for this game. So those are some of the injuries updates for the Eagles roster. We do have roughly 3 injuries when it comes to the Falcons, but we will get into that once we get back from this quick break going on. Remember, you want to get all of your Pro Football Today breakdowns and information here on Pro Football Today, the pregame party with myself and this amazing crew. So stick with us once we get to the other side of this quick break.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
for the Eagles. And then obviously we all know that Brown has his own personal injury. When it comes to the Falcons roster, Antonio Hamilton had a groin injury. He was listed as questionable before the game. Running back Robert Burns, also questionable. And then you got Nate Lenman, who is heading to IR. Kevin King got the tap on the shoulder to be elevated in his absence. So probably not a good look for the Falcons to have any kind of holes or shakeups in their defense. But we can only hold so many teams accountable to their week one results. Both of these teams have something to prove, because while a lot of people are jumping on the Eagles, their defense did let up 29 points in week one. And I know they were in Brazil and working through all these things, but I think this can be a little bit more fun than we anticipated. So let's get into some first half breakdowns. Spread for the first half is sitting at 2.5. Total is sitting at 22.5. Falcons total 9.5. Eagles total 12.5. And all of the unders for these options are sitting at plus money. Adam, I'm going to toss it to you. What's looking more attractive when it comes to the first half conversation?
Boy, I know that some of these primetime games we've come into, and I've had a strong feeling about the total and typically the under, and then I'll go on and on about a particular prop, and it feels like I'm kind of rooting against myself, which honestly, sometimes I am. That's what happens when you're a volume bettor and you just spread yourself out in a lot of different areas. I don't have a strong feeling about the total one way or the other tonight, and when that happens, at the bare minimum, guys, I'm rooting for points. I want points. And if you're asking me, as you did, which of those totals I would be most inclined to bet, and in fairness, I will tell our viewers, our listeners, I have not wagered on a first half total. But if I were to, it would be the over for Philly. I think it's very realistic that the Eagles score a couple of touchdowns in the opening half. That's the direction I would go. As far as the Falcons offense in this game, just in general, I mean, again, forced to make a play, I might look to their team total under, just because I don't think that much of Cousins, even removing the primetime thing. I just don't think that much of him right now, still recovering from that injury and new system and new coaches and new teammates. This is not Minnesota Kirk Cousins right now. Maybe it will be eventually, but right now it is not here in week 2. So those would be my leans as far as totals go.
Okay. I feel a theme coming on here when Adam feels strongly about something versus when he doesn't. So make sure everyone's taking notes at home for all of the pregame party information and insight. Tom, I saw some head nods from you. Any strong feelings or lack thereof when it comes to some of the first half
He was agreeing with me a lot. I like that.
That's what I did that for.
Yeah, this is, I would say I'm largely in agreement where the Falcons offense, what we get from them, I think is a huge question mark, and I think today will be a good showing of that. Obviously, it's week 1. Team starts slow. It is what it is. Also, you know, TJ Watt bearing down on you isn't the easiest thing to deal with. We saw that in full effect yesterday. So what we get from the Falcons, I think, is imperative for, I would say, a good portion of their season. Their next 2 games, they may round into form eventually, but again, it may be a bit of a slow start for them. So their team total under, absolutely. The Eagles team total over for the first half. Again, I'm on board with that. I haven't bet on that myself. As I said at the top, I'm leaning on the Eagles and the under in this game in general. So a couple scores wouldn't surprise me. I think I have some interesting takes when it comes to the QB market, and then once we get into the wide receiver market, but I think I'm largely in agreement with Adam, which is maybe the first time, I know it's only been a couple weeks, but this is the first time this season that we're like on the same page of what we should be expecting from this game.
I was going to say, you guys just had a complete stepbrothers moment. They just became best friends, but I'm on the other side of this one because you go against a Steelers team that's a lot more stout when it comes to run stop and a lot of other options on their defense, and you see a Falcons team that still found 10 points in the first half. So, Dave, I mean, you might have to be the ref in this one. I've got the stepbrothers, and then now I'm over here on the other side of the Hudson River. But could I possibly be onto something? You guys picked up on that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's
that
good.
was
I like
excellent.
that. You moved to the right
excellent
place.
Work.
Very smooth.
Yes, that was great. 2 things. The props cashed over on the number of times or when your segment would start mentioning Tampa Bay. Okay, so that was going to be in the first segment, and somehow you waited until the second segment to mention Tampa Bay, and somehow you got Pittsburgh in there in this second segment of the show, which is impressive by you. And then a Hudson River reference. Forget about it. The parlay is done. You cashed them all right there with that. I think what we in the first half of primetime games, you see overs. You see, and then the adjustments are made. In second halves, have been snooze fest, a lot of sacks, turnovers. I mean, that game last night, for example, last Thursday, same thing. All those points in the first half, nothing in the second. I'm thinking first half, same way tonight. I think Atlanta's best shot is to get some points early, because if they don't get points in the first half, this game might be a blowout. And when nobody wants to see a blowout tonight, well, I mean, other than Adam and all his problems like that. That's it.
I feel like I forgot
Listen,
to ask
after
Adam.
what we know, I need to respond to that. You said it yourself, Dave. Yesterday was a bloodbath for the consumer. If you were into the chalk, if you really liked a lot of the favorites, and I did, it wasn't even just going Charlie Chalk. I genuinely liked a lot of the spots yesterday. We saw the Raiders, the Saints, the Bucks, the Packers, the Browns, the Vikings, almost the Bengals, all win yesterday as underdogs, not cover, win outright as underdogs. Thank God the Texans took care of business last night. For anyone that risked getting even deeper just to get even, they went chasing and it actually cashed. And you're going to have more people doing the same thing, trying to recover from their losses from yesterday tonight on the Eagles side. Help out the people, gambling gods. Can we just get a little bit of love for Philly, please? We have had the biggest dog on the board consecutive weeks to begin the season. First the Bengals and then the Ravens go down outright, destroying survivor pools everywhere. Yeah, you're damn right I'm on the Eagles side tonight.
Adam is every wounded fan after yesterday's conundrums of the underdogs having themselves a day. But as you guys know, this party continues to roll. We got a quick break, and then we're going to get into some same-game parlay partying. So don't go anywhere. Join us on the other side.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into Pro Football Today, the pregame party. Myself, Kasey Hudson, Dave Sharapan, Tom Vecchio, Adam Kaufman. It doesn't get boring to riddle off all those names. And you know what else that does not get boring? Same game parlays. Let's get into Adam and Tom's same game parlays for tonight's showdown. All right, gentlemen. That jingle
I appreciate
alone.
how you went pointing at that board like we were the Brady Bunch or something like that. That looks pretty good.
I told you guys last week it feels very Jeopardy-esque up here for me.
It does, yeah. It looks it too. There are a lot of plays, guys, that I like in this game. Now, if you like them all and you want to parlay them together and chase the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, go for it. It all depends on obviously what you feel like sprinkling in terms of that pizza money or whatever else. You can do that. I already mentioned I like the Eagles to cover in this one. 5.5 is the line, consensus everywhere. It's honestly a little surprising even that it opened at 4 way back when. But again, 5.5, you can get the Eagles. So either way, you're getting them inside a touchdown, even if it did somehow get to 6.5. But in terms of the prop market, I just keep coming back to this one. And spoiler alert, I know Kasey likes this one as well, or at least a variation of it. The tight ends, Dallas Goedert in particular, of course, on the Philadelphia side. Now, I'm going to steal some nuggets here from my guy Dave Loughran over at OddsShopper. I heard him recite this, and it just made me, it was confirmation bias for me. It's the best kind of bias. I fell in love with this thing even more. So, listen, Goddard last week, he played 82% of the snaps in that week 1 win. He should see, obviously, intuitively, he should see more volume with no A.J. Brown. We keep sort of grazing over the fact that A.J. Brown is not going to be available in this game. Guy was targeted 10 times last week. Smith targeted 8 times. That is 18 targets between the two, and Goddard still had himself 5, and he had 4 catches for 31 yards. Now, obviously, Smith is going to be out there, and the one time he played a game without A.J. Brown last year, he absolutely exploded and went well over 100 yards. So, honestly, I like the over for him, too. He's sitting in the mid-70s. I think that is a bargain. But in terms of Goddard, we didn't see that much adjustment from the books. You can still, albeit at heavy juice, get over 3.5 catches, which again, he had 4 last week. Over 3.5 catches for Dallas Goedert. You can go plus money at over 4.5, but I love the yards. 40 plus yards or over 39.5, depending on whether you want to do the alternate at FanDuel or 39.5 at BetMGM. You can get that number pretty much everywhere at right around minus 115, minus 120. The guy had 31 yards with A.J. Brown in the lineup. I feel like I'm doing the presidential, this thing. I don't understand how Goddard is not priced mid-40s, even close to 50. I think you have to have exposure to Dallas Goedert tonight.
You said it. I don't hate it. Tom, hit us with yours. We've got a little under 2 minutes, but so far, Adam's off to a good start. What's your party?
Yeah, I always like to have a good bit of correlation in mind, or as much as I can possibly find. As I said at the top, I think the Eagles win. Maybe or not, they cover. So starting off with the Eagles money line, then going to Devonta Smith for a touchdown. And I am generally of the belief that quarterbacks should try and keep their star wide receivers happy. And that is what we have with Devonta Smith. And we have no A.J. Brown, as Adam mentioned. So it is a big, big Smith game tonight. And building into that correlation, if the Eagles are out ahead, that means the Falcons are going to be pushed into a passing game script, giving it for me to then add Bijan Robinson for 25-plus yards. If we look back to last week, as I kind of mentioned with Kirk Cousins, the Achilles injury, last week, 3.7 air yards per attempt. He is not dropping back. He is not looking deep down the field. And if they're in this passing game script, the Eagles can bring a little bit of pressure. He needs these safe check down passes to Robinson. So the Eagles are out in front, hopefully with the Smith touchdown. And then we see Kirk dumping the ball off to Bijan Robinson, picking up these easy 25-plus yards. So keeping it as correlated as possible. It's not the biggest parlay, but, as we said, yesterday was not the best day for a lot of bettors out there, myself included. So I want to keep things as simple as possible and try and pick up the win.
All right, who gets the stick taps, Dave? Is it going to be Adam? Is it going to be Tom? Where are we going with this one?
This one it's pretty clear to me, and it's Tom, only because he didn't pander to you with getting a tight end involved. I mean, there's simply I know what Adam's doing.
Today's the day for that.
It is actually. You're right. It is.
Wow.
No.
Wow. We'll unpack that.
You got to watch the Robinson one for Tom. That's the one I'm worried about.
All right, we're going to unpack that because we do have another break coming up here on the Pro Football Today pregame party. So don't go anywhere because clearly me and the fellas have something to discuss here on SportsGrid TV.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in, football fans. We are here at SportsGrid TV watching Pro Football Today, hanging out with myself, Kasey, Dave, Adam, and Tom. We just had some same game parlay partying. We put Dave on the spot a little bit. I feel like we made him pick a side. He leaned towards Tom. We had a little break conversation. So now I got to ask. You got to talk to Adam a little bit. You got to hear him out a smidge more. Would you stick with your side with Tom's same game parlay, or are you gonna swap sides like that outfit reveal last show and give Adam a little bit more love here?
There was an unknown part of the parlay, and like back in the day, you used to have like an open teaser or an open parlay, and God forbid any of the books now figure out how to make that an option, because that carries over from one game to the next day, and nobody in the business wants to go back to that. But I do want to go back to Adam for the third leg of the parlay, because we were there and then we got time and I didn't hear it. So what is the third leg of that same game parlay, sir?
Well, so look, I know I offered these as best bets, and I still feel that way. Again, if you're just joining us, Eagles to cover and the over on receiving yards for Dallas Goedert, although I do like the over for receptions as well, if you have a preference. But the unnamed leg that, honestly, it should go without saying. It should just be common sense. That is the over on rushing yards for Saquon Barkley, which you can get in the mid-70s. Let's not forget the guy went for the century mark and then some last week, 3 touchdowns in his Eagles debut, playing behind the best offensive line that he has ever seen in his career. And he's been around the block a little bit here. And I think what week 1 showed us, guys, and I think we're all in agreement on this, is that the Eagles signed him and gave him all that big money for a reason. They intend to use him and feature him and make him a significant part of the game plan. Now, will that always be rushing versus doing, a rushing plus receiving yardage prop, something along those lines? That's fine. You can debate how much you think he's going to be involved in the receiving game, but I am very comfortable with the rushing prop for him and a great mashup against a suspect run defense here tonight.
Oh, I know we are all about to be happy bettors at the end of this, because once I start revealing what I came up with tonight, I feel like we are all so in sync. I gave you guys a little bit of slack during the break, but now that Adam has pleaded his case and added his last leg, I think I'm feeling better about this, gentlemen, which brings us to the perfect pivot. Tom, you get the first toss. Let's take some things head to head. We're talking about these running backs. There's hope on both sides of the ball that these running backs can gain some ground. But when it comes to the most flattering props and the most flattering running back, I know somebody's going to say this is a no-brainer, but let's talk about Robinson versus Barkley. Where do you lean on this?
I would lean with Barkley, and frankly, one of my favorite props for him, if I'm going to be expecting the Eagles, as I said from the beginning, I think the Eagles win. It's going to be over on rushing attempts from Saquon Barkley. And just like Adam said, the Eagles brought him in and they want to use him. It's not like they're going to be going with some split backfield. It does not appear that way. Sure, we're going to see Gainwell in there at times, but this is a Saquon-led backfield, and over on rushing attempts, I think may be my favorite. I think the lines for his rushing is great. His combined, those are super spot on. I think a lot of those lines are heavily bet, so they're super refined. And I would actually go to the attempts because I think those are highly projectable, and that's where I want to kind of stick with things.
All right. I'm a fan. I did pick up on the rush and receive combination because Barkley having 109 rushing yards and then 23 receiving yards, and that being against the Packers in Brazil after all of the things, I was like, why can't he get a little bit more action this week at plus money? Let's look at the quarterbacks. I know that we've kind of talked a lot about Kirk Cousins and whether or not he's going to be able to step up to the plate or stay in the game, and they not heavily rely on their run game. A lot of news reports came out that they actually struggled with their run game and switched to airing the ball out because there was a lot of miscues, there was a lot of schematic issues, and they think that they got those resolved. So, Adam, when it comes to the quarterback that's going to be the most efficient quarterback, I mean, I'm sure I know where you lean on this one, but are there props that are flattering on both sides or just heavily leaning on one?
I don't know. I don't have the Gray Sports Almanac from Back to the Future 2, so I don't know if we're all going to look like fools at the end of this thing. But again, it's a primetime game with an aging and still somewhat not quite right Kirk Cousins. No, I'm not going to invest in Kirk Cousins tonight. I haven't even mentioned until right now these words that are about to come out of my mouth, so pay attention. Jalen Hurts is 8-1-1 in primetime games. He is 17-9-1 against the spread at home in his career. This is just a spot that makes all the sense in the world to invest in Jalen Hurts. Now, as far as his individual props, there's nothing that jumps out at me. If anything, I might be intrigued by a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. We know that he is not shy about trying to take it into the end zone himself, but I don't think you are going to see, and I'm talking about over the course of the season, not specifically tonight, the same insistence that has happened in the past. I mean, he had DeAndre Swift last year. That is not Saquon Barkley. And Swift had a great year. He went for 1,000 yards. But Saquon Barkley is exponentially better. So whereas Hurts, who rushed for, 15 touchdowns last year, might have felt a little bit more compelled to try and do it himself at points near the goal line, he's going to be perfectly comfortable handing the ball off to that battering ram that is Saquon Barkley. So again, your money should, in theory, if we're reading this right, and we don't know, we don't always know, but if we're reading this right, it should be on Hurts and the Eagles and Barkley to perform. But I'm not going to go chasing on passing props or something like that for Jalen Hurts, because if this game does get out of hand, he might have a Patrick Mahomes-like line where he doesn't even get to 200 yards.
Some things to track as the fun continues. Dave, I'm going to give you a chance here to give a little bit more love to the tight end group. So, of course, we've got Dallas Goedert and a lot of people expecting a bigger night for him. But then we also have Kyle Pitts, and his receiving yards is only sitting at 40.5. Now, we know that the Falcons leaned on their air attack because of the miscues and the other issues, but the goal is to have more of a balanced attack tonight. I mean, is there any favorability towards Kyle Pitts going over this number?
There might be, but I mean, comparing the two, look at those numbers. They're almost identical, which is kind of ironic because they don't have identical roles in their offenses. I mean, that's surprising to me that the juice is the same and they're 2 yards apart. The receptions are the same and the juice is far apart. So, I mean, to Adam's point, the tight end for the Eagles, Goddard will get more, ideally, targets, which would then result in receptions. But, I mean, if we go back to the running backs case, you got to look at that. I think that when you look at the look at the numbers. Bijan's numbers a lot lower. He's going to carry the load more because his quarterback can't move, let alone run. So I like his yardage over, and I like Saquon probably to get close, but it's no shoe-in. The X factor in the QB comparison is those rushing yards for Jalen. That's the one that we're not seeing. With the passing yards are about the same. I think you got to really be careful on the rushing yards for Saquon because Jalen's going to have a big night rushing the football. I like his yards over.
Interesting. I had him week 1, got a little burn there, and from what I heard, they're trying to manage his workload so that he's not constantly going to his legs, and as the guys mentioned, Barkley has to be kind of the workhorse in that sense. Tom, you did mention that you had some player prop bets that you were leaning on. Maybe what room are you leaning towards when it comes to the position group? Let's go with that.
Well, I'm going to be on the direct opposite side of Dave because I like Jalen Hurts under on his rushing yards tonight. I do not think they're going to put him out there again. If they're leading, he's not going to be dropping back and in a spot to be forced out of the pocket to scramble. Like if it's a very clear game script for the Eagles, it's going to be protect Jalen Hurts. They're already missing AJ Brown, so it's going to be put the ball in Saquon's hands. So if they're not dropping back, he's not going to be in position to scramble and pick up yards. And I actually like Kyle Pitts under. I'm not seeing him as a big role. I think they need to make a very clear effort to get Drake London more involved than he was in week 1. Yes. So if it's not Drake London, it's going to be Bijan Robinson 2, and then we're going to see Mooney in there, and then maybe Kyle Pitts. So not a big game from the Falcons tight end tonight.
Ooh, I think we've got a lot more to get into when it comes to these positions, which means you football fans go absolutely nowhere. Continue to stick with us here on SportsGrid TV. We got another quick break coming up. We'll continue to break down the position groups and then get into some other bets that you might want to eye as the game goes on. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us here on SportsGrid TV.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You are watching Pro Football Today, the pregame show as we get you ready for the Falcons taking on the Eagles. And before we cut to that quick break, we were taking these position groups head to head. Tom giving us some insight on where he was leaning, also mentioning the fact that Kyle Pitts is probably going to have an under on his performance. So, Tom, I want to toss it back to you so you can continue to unpack that for us before we get into some other betting fun.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts got off to a good start, all things considered, or relative to Kyle Pitts standards by picking up that touchdown in week 1. However, the lack of health from Kirk Cousins is something that I'm going to continue to come back to as one of the key points for this game, and that leads to Bijan Robinson having a big game. And ultimately, Drake London is the player that they need to get going on offense. He needs to be a threat in the receiving game, and they need to essentially force defenses to respect Drake London as a threat. So that puts Kyle Pitts in a bit of a no man's land where he may catch some balls, but they're going to be, again, low ADOT throws because we're not seeing Kirk Cousins drop back. And if they're bringing the pressure, it's not going to be Kyle Pitts as the number one option. It's actually going to be Bijan Robinson. So I'm leaning on a low scoring game overall. And again, if I'm not expecting big things from the Falcons offense, I'm not going to be expecting Hurts to be in a spot that he needs to drop back. So under on Hurts rushing, under on Kyle Pitts receiving. I also like Devontae Smith over 23.5 as long as reception. It's a rather specific market, but I like the fact that he led the Eagles last year with a 12.0 ADOT average depth of target. He gets down the field. And as I said at the beginning, quarterbacks should keep their star wide receivers happy, and that means it's a big Devonta Smith game tonight.
Oh, okay. Not working against you on that one, but you know my favorite part about this pregame party that we get to have here? So many different minds, so many different opinions. Dave, you might want to put the glasses on because, gentlemen, it's time for us to get into some love it, like it, leave it. We're going to throw some props out there, some long shots, some game specials, anything that we're feeling honestly at the moment. And Dave's going to let us know what his vibe is with that. So let's get into some love it, like it, and leave it. The pressure all over again. The pressure all over again.
Starting to sweat. Okay, let's go. What do we got?
Yeah.
Let's go. Hit it. Come on.
Let's keep it good. Adam, throw something out there for us. What's something that you want to put in the like it, love it, or leave it pot and get Dave's opinion on what he's going to do with the party that you put out there?
Man, all right. I mean, I'm going to keep digging while we're doing the show for a little bit here to find a true long shot that I like. Although, I guess, you know what? I'll take it back. I keep talking about Dallas Goedert. Why don't I just go all in on Dallas Goedert? This qualifies. Yeah, if you're as high on the Eagles as I am in this game, and that you believe the Eagles, and now we're just playing with fire because it's qualifier after qualifier. If you believe that Goddard is going to be more, not the focal point, because again, I agree with Tom. I think that's going to be Devonta Smith and Saquon Barkley, but a guy who has some room, who has some extra little wiggle room to play with, an opportunity within this offense with no A.J. Brown. If you think Goddard is going to see more opportunity, and I absolutely believe that to be the case, and you want to go even deeper than something like 40 plus yards like we talked about, which is where his line essentially is sitting at. If you think the Eagles are going to score this first, score the first touchdown, and you want to get into the not just anytime touchdown market, but first touchdown market. I was looking earlier today and threw just a little sprinkle, just $5, just a little something. First touchdown, an opportunity for the in this game. So the number just felt a little too good to be true.
What's your take?
Too good to be true.
What's your take, Dave? Are you loving it, leaving it? Too good to be true. Well, I guess I'll see what Tom. Tom, do you have something out of there for us that you want to throw into the mix, or should I go first?
I'm Smith TD is my favorite prop of the night. So that's where I'm going to continuously go. And even if AJ Brown was healthy and he was 100% ready to go for this game, I would still be on the Smith TD because Smith didn't score in week 1. And we see this flip-flopping, yo-yoing. As I said last night to you, Kasey, yesterday was a big game for Chris Godwin. Week 1 was a big game for Mike Evans. Guess what? Week 1 was a big game for A.J. Brown. It's a Devonta Smith game. I'm going to say that time and time again. So if you like the TD, which I got at plus 170 on Saturday, because I bet it as soon as the A.J. Brown news came out, that's where I'm at. If you like his yards, if you like his longest reception, you want to go all at the 100+, I'm in on Devonta Smith, everything tonight.
Like it, loving it,
Love
or
it.
leaving it. Love it?
Love it.
All right.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I think if anyone's likely to catch one, it's him, and his big play potential leaves him at a pretty good price to catch a touchdown. I like it. What do you got, Case? Come on, give it
All
to me.
right.
Let's go.
Huddy's coming in with a big play potential. I've got probably less than a minute, but I'm taking Barkley to have the longest rush yards at over 15 and a half. I think that he gets some sort of breakaway. Do you like this? Do you love it? Do you leave it? 1 minute to go.
All right, so you're guessing here, or you're playing that he's going to break away from the defense, come down, 2 stick taps and a deke to the backhand, top shelf. I had to get a hockey reference in for you. You know that. Longest
Thank
rush,
you.
my guy Saquon, Penn State guy, absolutely. I think the potential for big plays tonight is on both sides of the ball, which is why I'm leaning to the over. So 15 and a half is kind of a long number for a rushing yard, longest rush prop. It's a little high, but that's okay because I think he gets it. I think Atlanta's defense, listen, the Steelers carved them up pretty good. It's okay. I think you're on to something, Case.
There we go. I was hoping that you were going to lean into the breakaway or at least agree with me that he wants to break free. But we do have to go on a quick break ourselves here at Pro Football Today for the pregame party. We still got more information, more best bets, more insight as the Falcons get ready to take on the Eagles. So guess what? Go nowhere. Stick with us here on SportsGrid TV.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into Pro Football Today, the pregame show. We are a short moments away from the Falcons taking on the Eagles and seeing how all of our best bets pan out tonight. Hopefully we all have better luck than we did yesterday, but who doesn't love some love for the underdog, which means we got to get some final thoughts from these gentlemen. And might I just add really quickly before I hand it over to Tom, one of my biggest reasons for Goddard being able to have himself a big night is because when you look at how the Falcons defense is lining up left heavy, Judon coming off the edge there, and then you're going to have a young guy playing linebacker and filling a void. I just feel like that middle field is going to be wide open, and why not get your tight end involved? I made my case. Tom, let us know your final thoughts for this showdown.
Final thoughts, as I said at the beginning, the Eagles win, they don't cover, and the under hits. I will say I am looking live. If we can get the Eagles -3 would be great. I also think this game starts a little bit slow, so a live over, if this over drops to 40, 41, somewhere around there, that's where we're going to be looking. I think we're in for a good game, not a great game in prime time, a little bit of inconsistency, hopefully not too many flags. That's what I want to see tonight.
Okay, hopefully. Oh my gosh, please not too many flags. Thank you. You just gave me a little bit of PTSD mentioning that because it's just been like confetti out here. It's not that type of party yet, guys. It's just pump the brakes. Adam, hit me with your final thoughts.
My best bet is Jason Kelce to be carried out of the stadium. Has anybody seen this dude pregame? He is partying hard. He's got to keep it together for whatever portion of the broadcast he's going to be on. But after that, watch out. I hope his wife is taking good care of him because this guy is ready to hang. That is for sure, especially in prime time. Have I mentioned I like Dallas Goedert? Has that come up? I think he is going to have a great game. I mean, you guys are going to – if this show goes another couple segments, a good thing you're kicking us out. If I had to keep talking about Dallas Goedert, I would be laddering him up to 50, 60, 70 yards. But no, baseline prop, again, you can still get it right around 40, 39.5, 40.5. I'm comfortable with either number. I like the over on receptions as well. I'm not saying the guy's going to go crazy tonight. It's Dallas Goedert night, career night. But I think he is going to be much more involved in the offense than he has been. And I don't, and maybe I'll be wrong about this, but I don't see all of that attention. Like people want to jump all over like Juwan Dotson today. I don't think Dotson is just going to automatically see all of that attention that you're losing in A.J. Brown. I think Goddard is going to be a very viable option for you.
There we go. Look, you can mention tight ends till you're blue in the face. At least you know you have some support over here. And plus, you and Tom already had a stepbrothers moment. I think we're off to a really, really good start for this show. Moving into the showdown tonight. But, Dave, you didn't put the glasses on when Adam was talking. Regardless, let's see what your final thoughts are. Are you as high up on the tight ends? Or is there anyone that's really getting you extra excited? Are you going to quickly change your shirt and your hat? Let us know what's going on.
I feel like I'm on an island. I feel like I'm sitting here, all right, like Deion Sanders, which is the 21 jersey that I'm wearing from back in the day. Prime time, all right? Prime time games have been dogs and have been sometimes overs, but tonight I like the over. I think we get scoring. I think we get, hopefully, tight end props over for Adam, under for Tom with the pits. I think Smith catches the touchdown. And I really think Hurts gets the yardage. I think he gets there, okay? But, I mean, I feel bad. It was like a long show, and I was always wearing the Atlanta stuff.
Oh,
and he wants a show for the people. I mean, for the people. I brought the Eagles hat out for you, Adam, okay?
Thank
Don't
you.
accuse me of not rooting for your bets. I got the Eagles hat close. I can't just whip the shirt off. Might get in trouble. I don't want any emails. Enjoy the game. Great show, all of you. Great show. Kasey, take it home. I mean, what do you like?
Let's see. I've got a little bit of love for each of you guys. I love all of the love for Dallas Goedert. I already made my case with that. Tight ends in the middle of the field, the way that the defense has to shift for the Falcons with some of their injuries and their key guy being Matthew Judon. That's a shoe-in. I have him over 4.5 receptions, excuse me. As for the number of things that Tom has mentioned, it's pretty hard for me to see how Pitt's going to be involved today. So I actually do like a lot of the unders that he has mentioned. And plus, especially when it comes to Jalen Hurts under, I got burned by that in week 1. I think that they're just trying to manage Jalen Hurts' workload and his efficiency throughout the year. So don't have your quarterback rushing too crazy, especially not against a Falcons team. It doesn't matter quite yet. And then, Dave, you know what? I love the love for both teams. That's my final thought, that you crush it by spreading the love around. So as you guys know, you can find us ahead of all of the top games, Monday nights, Thursday nights. If there's a big game going on, you've got the pregame party crew right here. Myself, Kasey Hudson, Dave Sharapan, Tom Vecchio, and Adam Kaufman. You'll catch me and Tom in the postgame show. We got one more round to go, so stick with us here on SportsGrid TV.